my fellow easy speakers and guests. Diet sodas are popular beverages all over the world, especially among people who want to reduce their sugar or calorie intake. Some people may opt for diet soda simply because they think it's a healthier choice. Yes, diet sodas have 0 calories, so people assume they'll lose weight. We've all had a diet soda in our lives once or twice, right? Diet sodas were first introduced in 1950s for people with diabetes, though they were later marketed to people trying to control their weight or reduce their sugar intake. Also, it's an inexpensive way to get your caffeine fix. Well, if you're a diet soda addict, here are some facts about it. It might finally get you to quit. Instead of sugar, they're sweetened with artificial sweeteners like aspartame, cyclamate, saccharin, or sucralose. Aspartame sweetener tastes 200 times sweeter than regular refined sugar. Aspartame is also linked to migraines, headaches, depression, anxiety, memory loss, so on and so on. About 30% of American adults and 15% of American children ingest artificial sweeteners, including aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. Almost every popular diet or light beverage, such as Diet Coke, Zero Coke, Coke Zero, Pepsi Max, have sugar sweeteners in it. As I said, artificial sweeteners have more intense flavor than real sugar. So over time, these sweeteners seem to confuse the body's natural ability to manage calories based on tasting something sweet. People who consume artificial sweeteners are twice as likely to develop metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a cluster of conditions that occur together, increasing your risk of heart disease, high blood sugar, blood pressure, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. It could lead to weight gain, not weight loss. Just because diet soda is a calorie-free doesn't mean it'll help you lose weight. People have a myth that just because they're drinking diet soda, they're going to lose weight. University of Texas researchers did a study and found that over the course of a decade, diet soda drinkers had a 70% greater increase in excess fat around the waist compared to non-drinkers. Artificial sweeteners trigger insulin, sending your body into fat storage mode and leads to weight gains. It's also associated to increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Just one soft drink in a day could boost your risk of having a vascular event such as stroke, heart attack, or a vascular death. According to research from study of Miami and Columbia University, their study found that diet soda devotees were 43% more likely to have experienced a vascular event than those who drank none. Regular soda drinkers didn't appear to have an increased risk. Also, University of Miami and Columbia University researchers followed more than 2,000 adults for 10 years and found those drinking diet soda daily were likely to suffer a stroke or heart attack. They were also more likely to die from cardiovascular disease. Drinking one diet soda a day was associated with 36% increased risk of metabolic syndrome and 67% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. It's also associated with depression. The American Academy of Neurology meeting found that over the course of 10 years also, people who drank more than 4 cups or cans of soda a day were 30% likely to develop depression than those who steered clear of sugary drink. Diet soda added another 20% to that equation. The correlation held true for both regular and diet drinks, but researchers were sure to note that the risk appeared to be greater than those who primarily drank diet sodas and fruit punches. So in conclusion, next time you're craving for a no-calorie beverage, try different flavor of sparkling water or iced tea. You get lots of flavor and bubbles without any of the calories, carbs, or fake sweeteners. Thank you.
I really like the information, especially how those types of beverages can confuse the body, cause something crazy like metabolic syndrome, so that would, and vascular disease, stuff like that. I thought that you told us a couple bad things about aspartame, but not the rest of them, except all these other things that include all of the beverages. So I was expecting you to tell me what's bad about all the rest of them as well, specifically. I think having a takeaway at the end of it that goes over all the sources, because you cited various surveys and such, and I think in college they're probably expecting you to cite where you got those sources, so if you had that printed up and gave to the students, that might help. And my only question was that the fact that these people drink these things and end up with vascular disease and diabetes and stuff like that doesn't necessarily indicate that it was caused by the beverage. They may have had those conditions before they started using them, and I don't know if you could address that in your speech or not, but that was the one thing that I questioned about it in terms of using science to look at your speech. I thought it was a great and engaging speech as well from the very beginning to the end, lots of good information.
So how many minutes was it on?
It was over 4 minutes. It was 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
So how could I
So I
condense
was trying to
this?
think of what you could cut out. Maybe, like Finn said, if you put the sources on a handout,
Yeah.
you didn't have to go over them all. I don't know what else,
Okay.
you know.
And have a grid that talks about each individual type of chemical and what it causes or what it's
Because your
reputed.
facts were interesting.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
that
maybe
was-
it was a little dry going into each survey or.
Okay. I'll cut it shorter.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on
Okay.
Vince here, because I think he did a very good job just pointing out the positives of your speech.
Okay.
The one thing I would look at doing is, as she suggested, putting some of the information on a handout,
Okay.
or putting it on like a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
I was, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna mention same thing. I'm very visual, so I was thinking if you could buy maybe one beverage that is healthy, and then or Diet Coke and another beverage that is healthy, and have
Right.
that contrast between
Great
the two.
idea.
Right.
If you get Diet Coke, this then this will happen. But if you drink this tea, then you'll stay healthy.
But how do I do, because it's tomorrow,
Oh,
there's
yeah, I
24
know.
students giving 3 minutes of speech.
Oh, boy.
So that's in the morning, and then we have a group speeches in the afternoon. So I'm trying to visualize this, how would I grab and get this done in 3 minutes?
Okay.
Yeah, and,
Finish up, so.
I mean, it was close.
make a
It was a little
suggestion.
over 4.
Right, but
so-
then when I saw the green, the flag, I actually cut some of this.
Okay.
So I did
Okay.
speak a couple of the paragraphs.
I think anything definitional, I think she had a very good idea, put it in the handout.
Okay.
And that way, and you could ask, maybe you could pass it out before you started your speech and ask and say, here's all the definitional terms on the sheet.
Okay.
Maybe, if you can review, we're gonna give them a moment to review them or something like that, or review them in your break or something, I don't know.
Okay.
I would suggest that you read it more, you read the topic more, so you have more command of it. So you read it, so you know it. If you do know it more, it's easier for you to say them than to be reading it.
All right,
Because
well, the
it looks-
problem, I'm gonna practice this, but the problem is we're so, like, this week is so condensed. I have that,
For you.
3 minutes, and then in the afternoon, we have 18 minutes, a group project. And then Friday, I have to do a big presentation for our BDs and division chief.
It's,
I'm like,
I know, but this, if you summarize it for yourself,
okay,
where you have the command of your speech.
okay,
So you just come out there
Mhm.
and talk about the diet syndrome, you compare it with non-diet,
okay,
you mention the bad side of it,
uh-huh,
and then the good side of the good, you summarize. So you don't have to read everything, because while you were giving the speech, it looks like you are reading the text for us. It takes time for you to read the text.
I will,
But
yeah,
if you have the command of the speech,
okay,
you can summarize it in 3 minutes.
okay.
I still think Maria's idea of the visual could be really memorable and make an impact, like
And save
you're
time.
holding some kind of nice tea and say, here's a little bit of buzz and good flavor.
Okay.
Here's a lot, you know, and then the Pepsi, here's buzz, good flavor with vascular disease, metabolic syndrome, blah, 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 blah. Your choice.
At the
Your
end,
choice.
That would be my opening act.
At the
I
end,
need it in the trash can.
Yes.
And I need a strong opening.
Yeah, that would,
And that would be the time Maria's got the closing too, just toss that one in the trash can and
okay.
pretend like you're drinking the other one.
Okay, so buzz of diet soda and buzz of regular.
And
And
also
good
there
flavor.
could be some, some experiments, science-related experiments with diet soda. Like, I've seen like few examples, I think during in school seminars, like you can probably put a soda like into a messy cup and how it cleans up the whole mess versus like the
I know,
green tea
but I
which
don't think
doesn't
it's
clean.
gonna have time.
3 minutes.
Okay,
3
I'm
minutes
sorry.
is too
Oh,
much.
okay.
She's even
3
saying
minutes
cutting
is
out.
fast.
She's saying even 2 minutes, cause she gotta go through 25 students
not fair,
before lunch, and then from 2 to 4 is
not fair.
18 minutes.
So that's why the summary is okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like high level
Yeah,
only.
summarize this, summarize that.
Okay. You were gonna say something?
I think
Oh,
it's-
you wanted to say
I just
something?
think making it more personal, it eases up,
That's the whole
speech.
point of picking the topic was because my son used to drink diet soda and I wanted to bring, see, I didn't even think about this and I was going to put that in there, but that just kind of
I
blew
think
up
it'll
my.
just
Yeah.
make you a better speaker overall.
There you go.
I would say that when I was listening, I heard several things that were repeated.
Okay,
Go through the writing
okay,
and cross out anything that you've already said.
okay.
And then the second thing is I just have to support Stella saying, practice, practice,
Right, I
practice,
will.
because you
Right.
didn't have really great eye contact,
Right,
and that's because you were having to.
because I haven't had time to just,
Mhm.
I, this been cleaning up a lot.
I
Okay.
think Cassandra's got a thought.
How many definitions do you have?
Only 3 or 4.
Then put them on a PowerPoint presentation, put them up on the screen. That way
You
you
don't
just,
have time.
that way you, but you don't even address them, you just say, here, you point at it, when you say the definition, you just point at it. And just point at it, and they can read it for themselves.